All right, guys, so today what we are going to do is we are going to take the big rainbow image and the manga girl image, and we are going to create a manga girl. So first off, we're going to open up, we are going to create a new file. It's going to be an 8.5 by 11. So we're going to go to File, New, for Print, 8.5 by 11. We want to make sure the resolution is at 300 pixels by inch. And we're going to name this file manga, and then your last name. So, okay, so it's going to open up this blank file. The first thing we're going to do after creating our new files, we're going to go to the rainbow image. We are going to select it and we're going to move it to our file that we have created. So we're going to get our move tool, select our image. We're going to click and drag, not letting go until we're on top of the screen right here, and then you will release. So if you would like to proceed, just push yes. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make this rainbow kind of shaped where it'll fit the whole thing. We may need to make sure that we can access the transform controls. So it's going to be really distorted. It's totally okay. So if this happens to you where it goes like that, you're going to have to play with it. So we're going to drag it up a little bit, and I'm going to make the width smaller. I'm going to unconnect our link right here so I can drag in. Now you can either drag on the sides, change the percentage, or just click right here on the W and drag in, which is what I'm going to do. And the height, you can do the same thing. So the goal is to make this rainbow cover the whole page. So right there. And actually, I did forget a step. So we're going to give a background too. So I'll turn the visibility of that layer off. And I'm going to do a gradient background. So I'm going to select my background layer. And I have like a darker blue selected, and I'm going to change so that's my foreground color. My background color, I'm going to change to a blue as well. And then I'm just going to go to a lighter blue. Like that. And then I'm going to get my gradient tool, which is up under my paintbrush. I'm going to click down here and drag. Yeah. So now I'm going to turn that back on. All right. So now that I have that going, we are going to move our girl over. So I'm going to get my move tool again, go to my girl file. I'm going to select her. Oops. Return normal layer. Oopsie. Get my selection tool, my marquee tool, select, and then I'm going to drag her over here. And I'm going to drop her right here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to increase her as well. So I'm going to click on one of these transform controls, and we want to make sure that she stays relatively like proportional. So our height and our width should always be at 100. And so that's going to be right here, so that we want to keep that link checked. Now, if I click on the transform control that's on the side or on the top middle, and I drag, sometimes it's going to mess up. Right now it's doing what I want it to do. We want to make sure this layer is on top of the rainbow layer. So we are going to make her pretty big. So I have her about 180%. So now that we have our girl brought over and we've stretched her, we want to make sure that we click our checkbox or we press enter, and that will verify that that's what we want to happen. All right, so now we're going to select our girl, and we want to make sure that we don't have the background, and the easiest way to do that is going to go up here with her layer selected to select and go to color range, and you're going to get this little pop-up. When we have select color range done, we're going to get our cursor over the background, and the cursor is going to become this little eyedropper. So we're going to click and select that. And then now we're going to drag this fuzziness layer. So you can see it has some stuff selected, some stuff not selected. We're going to drag to around 140, 142 in that range. Okay. So she kind of looks like this. And then we're going to press Okay. So now that we have that selected, we're going to actually reverse our selection. So we're going to go to select and inverse. And then, so now it's selected everything outside of that. We're going to do a layer mask. So we're going to add a layer mask. All right, now you see what's happened to her. We're going to fix that, but this is what it should actually look like right now. Now, I'm going to push Alt on my keyboard, or Option if you are on a Mac, and we're going to click on the layer mask. So what that does is it gets rid of everything else outside of our layer mask. It hides everything for the moment. And we're going to get our brush tool active. So we're going to hit your brush tool. We want to make sure that the brush you have is the hard round. We do not want a soft round. And you're going to want your cursor. Let's see. I'm going to bring mine to like almost 200 pixels. Oops. And we're going to make sure our foreground color is white. And then you're just going to color in her face. The reason for that is when we saw that first little bit, we saw she was kind of looking like a rainbow a little bit. So we're going to come in here and make sure, and that's because it was selecting that background color that was showing up in her face. All right. Good. So once you're around right here, we're going to push Alt down and click on the layer mask again. And this is what she should look like at this point. And if you need to, you can click on this layer mask and paint with white in different places. Like if you see too much colors coming through from the background, or you can switch that back and go back to black if you get too much of the background, which is what I did right there. All right, so do right around that. Okay, so if we look at an image, sorry about that. If we look at an image of a manga girl, look at them right here. You see they have very, very small chins, small mouths, small noses, large eyes, and large foreheads. So that's kind of where we're going to be going with her. So to do that, we're going to select her face right here. And we are going to go up to Filter on the menu bar and down to Liquify right here. All right, so your screen's going to open up like this. And there's a few different tools that we're going to use within this. This is going to allow us to kind of make some changes to her. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on making her chin really small and pointed. So we're going to use the forward warp tool, which is that very first one that's selected. It looks like a piece of, like you're pushing something in like that. So we're going to use that. You may need to change the size of your brush. I'm at 125. We'll see. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger. That's too big. And we're just going to come in here. And you have to be careful where she has her hair. And undo and redo some of that. So we're just moving it in. And this is not going to be perfect by any means. All right, so just kind of be aware of that. And come over here and do the other side. Now, if we had done a picture where her hair wasn't quite so like right in the middle of her face, it probably would have been a lot easier to do this because we can see right where I'm at right now. Her hair's kind of messing up some. And it's obvious, but it's okay. For the sake of this. All right, so we've gotten her chin done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the fisheye to bloat her eyes. So we're going to go right here to, oh, they've renamed it. They've renamed it to just bloat tool. All right, you may need a bigger brush. go through and make her eyes larger. And we're going to do on the other side. All right, so her eyes should be a lot larger, and now we're going to go back through and we're going to make her mouth a little bit smaller. So I'm going to change the size of that down. And we're just going to bring her mouth in with the forward warp tool that we were using on her chin. Like I said, it's going to be a little weird where the places where her head was. Next, we're going to get the bloat tool, and we're going to make her forehead larger. We may need to make this a little bit bigger. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back through with the forward warp tool, make it bigger, and go through and pull out some like this. All right, so it's going to look a little funky. That's fine. This is definitely not going to be one of those assignments that looks realistic. All right, and now you can also use the pucker tool right here above the bloat tool, which is going to make things a little bit smaller. And so we're just going to make her nose smaller, which is going to add to that visibility. Okay, so once you have that done, you're going to press OK. And it's going to update. I'm just going to push Command D, excuse me, to deselect. And then I see right here, there's something that needs to be erased. So I am going to get my brush, and come back through right here. Something will happen with my layer mask, but there we go. All right, and so this is what you're going to screenshot and turn in.